Hello and welcome back to Toast and Strawberry Jam. Today I'm going to be giving you my TBR Takedown reading list. So the Readathon TBR Takedown 2.0 has been announced. It was announced on the 7th of July, I think, by Shannon over on Leaning Lights. I'm going to leave the links to her channel in the description below. TBR Takedown 2.0 is a readathon, and the idea of the readathon is that you read as many books as you can in the time that is set. So the time for this one is the 25th to the 31st of July, and that's really good for me because I've got 2 days off during that time, and I think my shifts at work out fairly well, so that I'll have plenty of time to read. On the 28th I will be going down to London, so I'll have like the travel time both ways, but I probably won't get a lot of reading done other than being on the train because I leave really early and I come back quite late. So, and I'm seeing my dad while I'm down there, so I'm not going to be like, sorry dad, I'm just going to read this book while we're like sat in a cafe. So but it works out really well for me. The 27th is my birthday, so I can do whatever the hell I like on my birthday, and I'm going to read all day, and that's going to be really nice. So this is perfect for me. This will be my first readathon. I've never done one of these readathons before. I've like given myself like personal goals to just like read as much as I can in one day or in like a week or whatever, but I've never done it with a lot of other people, so I'm really excited to like get involved in the kind of community of this. So there's loads of stuff going to be happening over on Twitter, and so like I say, I'm going to leave the link down below to Shannon's announcement video, and then you can find all of the important links that you need there if you want to take part. So there are 5 challenges to complete throughout the readathon. They're completely optional, but they are just guidelines to help people kind of like focus on particular things, and that's really helpful for me because otherwise I'd just be like staring at my TBR shelf just like, help me. So I am really happy to have like 5 really kind of like clear goals that I want to kind of meet. So the first challenge is to read the first in a series. So for this challenge I have picked Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas, and I really like how that rhymes. This is the longest book I think that I have picked, and it comes in at like 420-ish pages. So that's going to be probably the most challenging one to read, and I think I probably will try and read this one first. I'm really excited to read it. Like, I've had it for a while, I've heard like kind of mixed reviews about this, and so I'm quite excited to kind of formulate my own opinions. And I love series, I'm like a big fan of series, so I really just want another series to be reading right now. So that's going to be my first in a series challenge. The second challenge is to read the second book in a series, and for this I have picked Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan, and I am really excited to be reading this one. I really enjoyed the first book in the Percy Jackson series, and I didn't have the second book, otherwise I would have just like dove straight into the second book. But I picked them all up recently, and now I just can't wait to get started. This one is like really short, it's like 263 pages, so this should be quite an easy one to get through. Like, it's quite sort of, I think it's like middle grade technically, like it's not like young adult fiction, so it's going to be a little bit easier to read. I do find it quite easy to kind of get through. And so I'm really excited about reading this one as well. The next challenge is a book that has been on your TBR pile for a long time, and for this one I have picked The Small Hand by Susan Hill. This is the same author that wrote The Woman in Black, which I read a couple of years ago and really enjoyed, and then my mum recommended that I read this one as well. So this is actually her book, and so I really want to give it back to her, so I want to try and get this read, and if I could read it in the first couple of days of the challenge, that would be really good, because then when I go to London I can give it to my dad and he can take it back to her for her to have back. The fourth challenge is to read a book that is out of your comfort zone. So I found it quite difficult to decide what kind of book would be like outside of my comfort zone, because I generally read quite a wide variety of things, so I couldn't really think of like a genre or anything like that that really like fell outside of my comfort zone. So something that I quite enjoy is I quite like reading like historical stories, but that are like, so like historical fiction, I guess, but where it's like the story is based on like an actual sort of event, or is like really sort of close to real life. So I mean, things like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, where it's kind of like believable, but I don't find them particularly enjoyable to read. I find them very interesting, but I find that kind of thing very hard to read. So I kind of went for something that was like, normally I would read sort of about like the Second World War, and normally it's more about the sort of social impact than like actual sort of, you know, being in like a labour camp or a prisoner of war camp or anything like that. So the book that I have chosen this time is One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. I cannot say the author's name. This book was originally written in Russian, I believe, and it has been translated. It takes place in a Soviet labour camp, and it is literally just one day in the life of this prisoner, Ivan Denisovich. And my husband has read this book, and I asked him to kind of like sum it up in 5 words for me, and he said, inspiring, hopeful, readable, grim, and cold. So I was like, okay, so I think this is going to be the kind of thing that's like, it's going to be fairly close to real life, and I think it's going to be quite challenging for me to read, but I think I have read the first couple of pages. I'm going to start again from scratch, but I have read the first couple of pages, and I was enjoying the writing style, I was enjoying the flow of it. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. It's not a very long book, it's only 140 pages. I think it's going to be hard to read, and definitely is going to be sort of out of my comfort zone in terms of I'm not going to be comfortable when I'm reading this, I don't think. But I am quite excited about reading this one. So yeah, that's my book out of my comfort zone. And then the last challenge is to read a book from your most recent book haul. It's been a long time since I've actually sort of bought a lot of books at the same time, but I did recently go into Manchester, I went to Waterstones, and Penguin have got these little black classics, and I can't remember exactly what it's for. It's for an anniversary, for a Penguin anniversary. I can't remember what the number is, but all of these little black classics are just 80p, and I have picked up Hans Christian Andersen's The Tinderbox. It's a selection of short stories, and I really like sort of children's stories. Let's see, it's got The Tinderbox, Little Claus and Big Claus, The Princess and the Pea, The Steadfast Tin Soldier, The Nightingale and the Red Shoes. So let's see how many pages. It's got like 60 pages. This is probably going to be what I read on the train down to London. I will get through this super, super easy. I'm really looking forward to reading it. I really love like children's fairy stories. I like things like the sort of the Grimm stories. Like, I like the real story where the kind of Disney stuff came from. I like to know how it was actually written to begin with and see the difference now. I think that it's very interesting the way that we have kind of romanticised all of these children's stories. I'm going to read these and I'll see what the difference is, I guess, between these ones and then the ones that we read now. So that is my 5th challenge book. So that gives me 5 books to read in 7 days, which is going to be it's going to be a challenge, I think. I think I can probably get through most of these in one day if I really push myself. I think I'm kind of expecting maybe that I can read these 3, The Tinderbox, One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, even, and The Small Hand. I can probably get through those in like a day each, and then I will have the like remaining days to get through these 2 books. That's my plan. I think I will probably start reading Throne of Glass like as soon as the readathon starts, and then I will be reading that one at home and then taking one of these shorter ones like out and about with me to kind of like pick up a few pages here and there. And so hopefully I'll get a couple of books read in tandem, and that will hopefully speed things up a little bit. I don't have any like backup books for if I finish these ones. If I do finish these 5 books and do have to pick something else up, then I'm going to be amazed, but I'm just going to pick whatever I fancy reading up. I might pick up the next of the Percy Jackson books, we'll see. I'm going to be tweeting about this. I'm probably going to be like posting pictures on Instagram, so take a look in my description below if you want to follow me in either of those 2 places, and you can also follow me on Goodreads as well, and you'll be able to keep up to date with how my progress is going on these books. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!